Ever wondered which nations are ruling the charts when it comes to wealth? Well, you're in for a treat as we dive into the top 10 wealthiest countries that are setting the global economic stage on fire. From jaw-dropping GDP figures to impressive per capita income, these nations are the cream of the crop. So, watch the full video as we explore what makes these countries stand tall in the world of wealth and prosperity. Let's get started. Number 10. San Marino. Ranking at number 10 among the world's wealthiest nations is San Marino. Even though not many people live here, it's doing quite well in terms of money. With around $78,926 for each person, San Marino manages to be the 10th richest country in the whole world. Don't let the small number of people fool you. Even though there aren't many, the amount of money each person makes is really good and steady. And like the other countries we've been talking about, San Marino has been on this list of rich places for quite some time. Number 9. United States. Now, let's take a look at the United States, the next country on our important list of the richest places in 2023. This big country has a whole lot of people, around 336.5 million. And you know what's cool? Even with so many people, the United States still makes a ton of money. Its GDP is pretty impressive when you think about how many folks live there. Just like the other countries we've been talking about, the United States has been part of this list of rich places for quite a while. Number 8. Norway. Now, let's talk about Norway, the next country on our important list of the richest places in 2023. This country is in Europe and doesn't have too many people living there. But even with not many people, Norway makes a lot of money. Around $82,655 for each person. Just like the other countries we've been talking about, Norway has been on this list of rich places for quite some time now. Number 7. Switzerland. Each person in Switzerland makes around $87,963 on average. Their economy doesn't go up and down too much. It stays pretty steady most of the time. When the pandemic came along, things got a bit slower. But guess what? Switzerland bounced back pretty fast and got back on its feet. Number 6. UAE. Now let's check out the next country on our important list of the richest places in 2023. The United Arab Emirates, often called UAE. Once again, this country is here because it makes a lot of money, and its GDP is really impressive. The UAE is home to about 10.2 million people. But what's cool is that it always manages to keep its money-making pretty steady, even when things like the pandemic happen. So, while some other places struggled, the UAE stayed pretty strong. That's why this country is seen as one of the richest in the whole world. Number 5. Macau SAR. This country has not too many people living there, but it makes a lot of money, which is why it's one of the richest places around. You know what's cool? They have a bunch of casinos in different parts of the country. Macau SAR was the richest country in the world in 2014, 2017, 2018, and 2019. But when the pandemic happened, it kind of messed things up, and the amount of money each person makes went down by a lot. So, in 2022, it wasn't in the top 10 list of the richest anymore because the country wasn't making as much money as before. But the good news is that things are slowly getting better, and Macau SAR is starting to make more money again. Number 4. Qatar. Qatar comes in 4th place on this big list. Back in 2010, Qatar made around $147,660 for each person living there, and it was way up at the very top of the list, way ahead of others. It held that top position all the way until 2014. One of the reasons Qatar is so rich is because it has a lot of valuable things like oil and gas under the ground. And you know what else? Qatar is like a host for many big games and competitions, and that makes a lot of people come and visit. Even though there aren't many people living there, Qatar has a ton of valuable stuff, and that's why it's thought of as one of the richest places in the whole world. Number 3. Singapore. Now, let's shift our focus to another important country on the list of the world's wealthiest in 2023. This island nation has a population of about 5.9 million people. What's really impressive, though, is its GDP. the total value of all the goods and services it produces. Singapore has been a top spot for investments and trade for many years. It's like a hub where things get made and then sent to other places. This country has been getting bigger and richer, especially since 2010, and that's why it's known as one of the richest in the world based on how much each person makes on average. People from big companies and groups choose to put their money into Singapore because it's growing quickly and has good rules about how things work. Sadly, the pandemic made it harder for this country to make money for a while, but the good news is that Singapore managed to bounce back and is now showing some really hopeful signs of growing again. Number 2, Luxembourg. Before this, Luxembourg used to be the very first country on this rich list. However, Ireland managed to take that top position from Luxembourg, but Luxembourg still has a strong GDP. What's more, Luxembourg is not just about money. It's also a place filled with beautiful spots and attractions. People consider Luxembourg special for its picturesque places. Remember though, the rankings can change based on how much money a country makes. This year, things are a bit tricky due to the lingering effects of the pandemic, affecting the growth rate. But it's worth noting that Luxembourg was one of the countries that managed to recover relatively quickly from the economic impact caused by the pandemic. Number 1, Ireland. At the very top of the richest countries list in 2023 is Ireland, a small island nation that has surprised everyone by becoming the world's most prosperous country. Even though it has a small population, Ireland's strong economy and stability have played a big role in its remarkable success. Some of the biggest and most well-known companies have chosen to invest in Ireland, boosting its wealth. Back in 2010, Ireland wasn't among the top 10 richest countries, but fast forward to 2023, and it has climbed its way to the very top. This incredible journey was powered by substantial investments from major corporations who were drawn to Ireland's low corporate tax rate. Before we wrap up, I have a question for you. Out of these top 10 wealthiest countries, which one would you most like to visit or live in? Let us know in the comments below. Your thoughts and preferences are important to us. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe so you don't miss an upload and you can enjoy the excellent content I send your way.